Yo, Big C in the house. You know the name. Fin Posse Podcast. Changing the game. Fins up high. Feel the aqua and orange. Miami Heat blazing. We scorching the floor. Marino the tour. We stacking the saga. Legacy deep, call it football nirvana. Big C, break it down, got the stats in his veins. Play-by-play knowledge like he's calling the chains. Fins flying on the field, opponents feel the blast. Tyreek cheetah speed, leaving DBs in the past. Waddle with the wiggle, defense with the clamp. Aqua drip so clean, whole squad's the champ. Tune in, Big C, got the mic on lock. Fin Posse Podcast, it's the cream of the crop. Breaking news, hot takes, repping the block. For the Dolphin faithful, it's the one-stop shop. Fin Posse. We the voice of the fans. Miami stand tall, got the world in our hands. Best podcast, yo, ain't no debate. Big C, big vibes, setting it straight. Defense smash, call it Aqua Tsunami. X locking routes like a South Beach Armani. O-line holding strong, trenches like a fortress. Big C dissected, no stack goes dormant.
Try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands break through the chains, go free me. Looking for change, looking for pain. Pulling a mob, pushing a train. I'll never stop, stick to a lane. Pick up the pieces and go rearrange. I'll be the best above all the rest, put me to the test and expect nothing less, your check as I'm chess. What's happening next, yeah. He got the venom, a tangible weapon, no coming in second. This life is a lesson, he got a new engine from pain, it's a blessing. New focus, no guessing, just bold and obsession. All in his possession, you got their attention. I'll leave an impression and take your redemption. Just kill no discretion, your mind is a weapon. 11-11, it's time for progression, You could try to play, but you're never gonna beat me. Look the other way, what I'm doing ain't easy. Bloody hands stained from the people who deceive me. Muddy hands.
What up, Fin fans? Welcome to another episode of the Fin Posse Podcast. I am your host, Big C, and this is brought to you by Game Changers Media. How is everyone doing this wonderful Thursday morning? Snow flurries here in upstate New York. Sorry, I've been absent. Work called, gotta make the bacon. You know what I mean? Gotta get up there and make them dollar bills, y'all. Today, we're going to be talking about QB1, and how long will Mr. Tua Tagovailoa be QB1 of the Miami Dolphins? Will it be for the rest of this season? Will it be next season? Will it be even farther in the future than that? We'll discuss. I'm opening up the floor to each and everyone that wants to discuss Tua's future. Because there's a wide variety of opinions when it comes to Tua Tagovailoa. There always has been, and there always will be. Long after Tua's gone from the Miami Dolphins, there will be a discussion about Tua Tagovailoa. The day that we selected Tua Tagovailoa over Justin Herbert, it will be a cloud that continuously hangs over the Miami Dolphins franchise. But hopefully when it's all said and done, we find the quarterback of the future, a quarterback that can finally lead us back to the promised land. Because it's been a very, very long time, folks. It's been a very, very long time. I am a lifelong Dolphins fan, as any of you know that have been a viewer of this channel. And I've been a fan of this football team for over 36, 37 years. And I have never seen a Super Bowl title like many of you haven't. And we are due. We are due. We are a fan base that loves our football team, and we are owed. The football gods owe us one, and hopefully they smile down upon us here in the near future and make things right. Because when the Miami Dolphins are good, it's good for football. It's just good for football. But anyway, Tua Tagovailoa, the Miami Dolphins pull off another victory last week, 3 of 4. Technically, they're still alive in the playoff race, right? But are they? Are they really still alive? What up, Sean Miller, Michael? What's good morning? Good morning. Good morning. Are they still alive? Let's bring up the updated playoff standings, if you will. Share screen. Boom. Share. Bada bing, bada boom. Let's make it a little bit bigger. Okay. So the only two teams that have been eliminated from the playoffs so far in the AFC are the Titans and the Raiders. Titans 1-11, the Raiders 2-10. In the NFC, you have the Giants, the Saints, and the Cardinals. Okay. So these are the teams that are technically still alive. They're on the bubble. Teams that are on the bubble. On the outside looking in. The Browns 3-9. They're not making the playoffs, obviously. The Jets 3-9. Obviously not making the playoffs. A 1% chance to win. Get in if they win. 1% chance if they lose. They're not going. The Bengals are in it's interesting situation because technically the Bengals could still win their division. Do I think the Bengals end up getting in? No, I don't. I think they dug themselves too far of a hole. Joe Burrow's back, but that defense is still bad. Then you have the Miami Dolphins in the 11th seed, 5-7, third in the AFC. They have less than a 1% chance if they lose. Currently, they have a 1% chance if they win. What's that tell you? That there's not a chance in hell. The Chiefs in the 10th position is 6-6. If they lose, they got 11% chance. Currently 34%, 48 if they win. Steelers 18 if they lose, 32 currently, 63 if they win. Obviously, they still have an opportunity to win their division. And the Houston Texans, who have been on a roll lately, 7-5, 47% if they lose, 62% currently, 84% if they win. They're 2 games ahead of us, and they're struggling to make it into the playoffs. And then you got the Bills in that last seed, the Colts in the 6th seed, Chargers, Ravens, Jaguars, Broncos, and the New England stankin' Patriots. The New England stankin' Patriots already back up to the top of the division. That sucks. That sucks. But guess what? It's okay. It's okay, folks. I feel like the New England Patriots are a little bit overrated, in my opinion. That's just me. JD the Great, what's up? Roadrunner, what's up? Marcos, what's up? Roadrunner says we need a good GM. Start there first and hope he hits on picks for us. Get Tua McDaniel out of here. That's all. That's the popular opinion right now. I would say that people feel like we should just rip off the Band-Aid. I'm gonna put the link in the chat. So anybody that wants to tell how they feel, what their opinion is, a game plan for the future of the Miami Dolphins, you're more than welcome to join the show and let us hear it. Tua is terrible, bro. He will give the Jets their first interception of the year. We shall see. Let me give my spiel about Tua. I came into the season and I was skeptical. I was skeptical because of the job that Chris Greer did. I didn't think that we added enough to a roster that was lacking last year. I think we needed to add some pieces that we didn't add. I thought not bringing Calais Campbell was a huge mistake We traded Jalen Ramsey with no one to take his place. With no one to take his place. Now, we ended up getting Fitzpatrick in that deal, which was a bonus because I didn't think that we were going to get anything near the value of Fitzpatrick back in that trade. So that was a win for us, but we traded away our top corner. We had no corner depth. That was a mistake. So I came into the season skeptical already. And then week 1 happens. Austin Jackson goes down. James Daniels goes down. Our one large free agent signing goes down, right? So the improvement that we made to the offensive line that's been bothering us, been a problem for us for years, the whole right side is demolished week 1. We get our asses handed to us by the Indianapolis Colts. Maybe they just caught us off guard. Maybe it was just a fluke. But no, it hasn't been a fluke. The Miami Dolphins have not been good. In particular, Tua Tagovailoa has not been good. Now, I honestly, last year, he got hurt in the Houston Texans game. He missed a bunch of games at the end of the season. The Miami Dolphins never came out and said exactly what was wrong, but it was a hip issue. It was a hip issue. Now, was it the same hip that he had hurt in college that was a risk for him to even be drafted? I think it was. And I think that's why they were so hush-hush about it. But there's definitely been something different about Tua Tagovailoa this year. First off, Tua's always been limited by his physical abilities. Tua doesn't have the strongest arm. Tua is an injury-prone quarterback, obviously with the concussions, the hip. He's had a plethora of injuries throughout his collegiate career and his pro career. And that's because he's an undersized quarterback. He's an undersized quarterback with not the strongest arm. But his superpower was he was extremely accurate. He was extremely accurate. He had great ball placement. He had great anticipation. But we have not seen that from Tua Tagovailoa this year. We have not seen that sniper, that accurate, that anticipation that we're so used to seeing with Tua Tagovailoa this year. Is it because the hip's still bothering him? I don't know. But Tua does not look like the same caliber quarterback that he has in past. And if you take away that super talent, that super power of his, of being super accurate and having great anticipation, add that to the limitations he has physically, that leaves you with a below average quarterback. What does that equal? That equals bad. That equals a bad football team, especially when you're paying them $50+ million a year. I believe Tua's hip is bothering him. I believe that Tua's hip this injury is catching up to him. It's affecting his throwing motion. It's affecting the way he plays football. And the Miami Dolphins still owe Tua a ridiculous amount of money, and they're kind of handcuffed. So in my opinion, and Miller, I see you, and I'll get you on here in a second. In my opinion, the Miami Dolphins have two choices. The Miami Dolphins have two choices this coming off season. They can keep Mike McDaniel and Tua Tagovailoa. They can hope and write this season off like it was just a bad season by Tua, right? They can hope that a new general manager comes in, gets the players needed to make this team successful. We can try the reload. The Miami Dolphins can try the reload next season. You can try to bring Tyreek back if healthy on a reduced contract. You can go out and sign some free agents. You can hope that our rookies from this year make that second year jump and are that much better. The defense has been playing much better down this last final stretch of the season. So that's a positive. We should be going into next year with a healthy offensive line. I mean, our offensive line was pretty shot this year. Even though I think Larry Borum's done a fantastic job. So you can reload this offseason and give it one more chance with Tua and Mike McDaniel. Strictly, and the only reason, feasible reason that you do that is, well, there's two. First and foremost, Stephen Ross loves him some Mike McDaniel. Stephen Ross loves him some Mike McDaniel, so he wants to see Mike McDaniel succeed. He thinks Mike McDaniel's a star. I mean, I think that's a stretch, but I think Mike McDaniel has the ability to be a good coach. This was his first main job, coaching job, head coaching job. But that's one reason you do that. The second reason is, of course, the cap hit that Tua has next year. It's a devastating cap hit. If you move on from Tua Tagovailoa, if you rip the Band-Aid off, if you just get rid of him, trade him, cut him, do what you got to do with him, it's going to be very hard to field a competitive team next year just because Tua's taking up so much of that contract or the salary cap. It's just going to be eating up so much of the cap space that it's going to be hard to field a competitive team. And then the other option, of course, is you ripped off the Band-Aid. You fire Mike McDaniel. You release Tua Tagovailoa. You go 2-15, 16 next year, and you get the top pick in the draft in 2027, and you go get your quarterback that year. And you start completely over. You'll have a bunch of draft picks from 2025, 2026, 2027. Even the 24 draft guys will still be here. So you'll have a team full of young guys. You'll be able to go get the quarterback that you want of your choosing. And you'll have $200 million in cap space. Those are the options. Those are the only realistic options in my mind. I want to hear from you guys. I want to know what you guys think this Miami Dolphins football team should do. Miller, good morning.
What's up, Big C? What's up?
What's up?
Man, I think you hit it on the head, but there's also a caveat to it all because this season and this offseason that we just had has been the strangest Tua season and offseason since his inception in the NFL. He didn't work with no NFL trainers, no quarterback coaches. He didn't have no meets. He had no promotions. He wasn't doing the Hawaii dance and having the hosts and charities. We didn't hear nothing from him during the offseason. And when he gets into the season and it starts going bad, it's just like his eyes are glazed. Like he just gave up or phoned it in. But I don't know if that's the case or the answer because this organization has done nothing to honestly support him at a professional quarterback level. Not that they didn't give him all the materials to surround him, but they never truly, they just told him to figure it out at the quarterback position.
Well, I don't think that's necessarily true because you went and got Mike McDaniel because Mike McDaniel felt that he could. And, you know, I think what other choice did Mike McDaniel have but to say that he could work with Tua and fix Tua? I mean, Mike McDaniel wasn't a hot coaching candidate. You know, I mean, this was the only job that he was interviewing for.
He was up and coming, though.
This was, yeah, maybe so, but he wasn't even the offensive coordinator there, though. He was only the run game coordinator, right?
He was the offensive coordinator, but probably just in name alone for that first year. because he was the run game specialist promoted to OC, but Kyle Shanahan was still calling the shots, you know?
Yeah, but I disagree. I think they built the offense strictly for Tua Tagovailoa. You know, you went and got him playmakers. I think they neglected the offensive line besides that 2023 year. And, you know, Teron Armstead talked about it with Robbie Chosen. I don't know if you caught his podcast, but they talked about that 2023 team and how special that team was and how good that team, what the possibilities were for that 2023 team if injuries didn't hamper them.
And that
But Tua,
2023 team, though, was filled with like a multitude of different versatile receivers. I mean, since 2023, we haven't had a receiver over 6'2" that's an actual NFL caliber receiver.
yeah, but I mean, most of the balls went to Tyreek and Waddle regardless. I mean, I don't think that having undersized receivers really hurt us. You know, is it nice to be able to throw a jump ball? Yeah. You know, you see what Darren Waller brings to this football team when he's available.
That's the thing, though. When Tua came in, though, and was under Greer, I mean, not under Greer, but Flores, that's all he had was the jump ball. That's all we had. We had Devontae Parker. No one was beating anyone wide open. And Tua was delivering.
And you're right. And you're right. We did. That's what we had is Devontae Parker. But obviously, that's the strength of Tua's game is ball placement, anticipation, getting that ball where it's supposed to be before, you know, anybody knows where it's even supposed to be. You know what I mean? He throws a football before the guy even breaks out into his cut. You know what I mean?
I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, if your superpower is ball placement, why not go get the tall guy who can out-jump everyone and just say, hey, place the ball 8 feet, you know, whatever, above my head. I'll just jump up and get that. Like, if that's your superpower, you should be able
because
to.
The run, I mean, that eliminates the run after the catch. I mean, with Tua's elite ball placement and his anticipation, you should be able to hit receivers in stride who can run after the catch. And I think that was the beauty of Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, is that they're players that have great yak opportunity. But that's here nor there. I mean, we could talk about what they didn't or did not give or what they did give. We're talking about what has happened.
Messed up. I'm sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt you.
Is that better?
Perfect.
My fault. I'm talking about what has happened since that game against Houston, because you know he got hurt against Houston. He came back eventually. I think he played one more game and then he was out for the rest of the year. The franchise was real hum ho ho on what was wrong with Tua.
Yeah.
Nobody was trying to give any answers. And then he comes into this season and just has not looked the same. Do you think it's the hip? Do you think there's an ailment, or is this just Tua not being able to deal with pressure? Because coming into the season, there was obviously pressure. You know, you had Tyreek going off on his rant at the end of the season. You had the criticism of Tua for the way he looked on the sideline. Not that much.
Do you know who Markelle Fultz is?
Yeah.
Like he got drafted in the NBA and like had an actual head case of the yips. I'm starting to wonder if Tua just got the yips.
Well, I mean, I think that's a possibility, because there was a lot of pressure. There's a lot of pressure on Tua this year. You know, with the status quo is the status quo, and you know Mike McDaniel's under pressure, and obviously Tua's a Mike McDaniel guy. You know what I mean? And I think he feels that pressure to maybe perform for him, and we know how Tua does with pressure. He doesn't do well with it.
And here's my thing. You've seen his press conferences. Like, he's not on social media, but just because he's not doesn't mean his family and his supporters aren't. So he still sees and hears everything that is said about him. On top of the money he's making, on top of all the responsibility that he already has, he has the media talking about the way he does. I mean, that could change anyone.
Glenn, good morning.
Good morning. Hey, I can't stay long, but I did want to say something. There's two things. There's something that Miami should do, and the other is what's best for both the team and Tua. What they should do, or not what they should do. Yeah, what they should do and what they're going to do. We'll go over what they should do. What they should do is let Tua go. I think it would be better for Tua. He would probably have, if he goes to another team and he's competing for a job, he'd probably win that job and probably have a better, you know, thing. But I don't say he has an outstanding thing, but he probably has a above average career and stuff at
That's
another
a valid
team.
question. Do you
But
just
but what Miami will do is they will keep both.
you think so?
Yeah. They it's too much for. They're already paying McDaniels a lot of money, and they're already paying Tua. They're going to pay Tua a shitload, and even more if they cut them.
Yeah, but
See, everybody
Tua has
says,
been a high class
everybody
character.
says,
Who's to say he
says,
doesn't
what
try
you
and
call it?
resign and give some of that money back?
What?
Who's to say Tua doesn't renegotiate and give some of that money back to help build the team?
Man, you just got fired. Would you give any money back?
I mean, he ain't fired yet.
Well, when
He's
he gets to
starting
that point, he'll
Sunday.
be fired. Do you think you're giving money back if you're fired from a place?
If you just got 70 million and to help
Man,
alleviate the
he's getting
team that is
everything
suffering
he
around
can.
you could give up like 20 million and still come out with like
No,
40
okay,
million.
okay. So you want a quarterback that we know is on a small timeline in the NFL. Probably, I'd say 3 more years at the best, 4, maybe on another team and stuff.
You want to know
You're
something though,
talking,
Glenn? I grew
give
up
money up.
listening to people say this about Tom Brady when he would give back his paycheck to help build the team around them. Brady can't throw for more than 30 yards. He's getting old. He's just not this. He's not that. Then he
But,
goes on and he wins Super
hold
Bowls.
up, hold up. Here's what Tom Brady had that a lot of people with small, soft arms didn't have. He had Super Bowls. If he would have went from 2004 to 2018, not winning a Super Bowl and stuff, what he and doing just what he did, and let's just say he didn't go to none, you think he would have been on the page that long?
Well, the Patriots had a competent GM too that could bring in real
That,
talent.
that's he already had 3 Super Bowls to back him up. So there's no thing in. I don't care if he had noodle arm, they couldn't fire him.
I
See,
mean,
Tua don't have a leg to stand on.
that's
Yeah,
the thing. Tua is
there's
out there alone. He has to stand alone because he's the highest paid person, and there's no one out there that's caliber other
but
than
but but
Waddle.
he's going. They're both going to do this year. They'll get next year, and then after that, Tua will be traded or something like that. And then he'll go to a team and have a couple more years and fight for a starting position, probably win and stuff. And it might rejuvenate his career for a little bit. But Tua does not have long in this season. If you remember when he was in Alabama, they said he had 5 to 7 or 10 years in the NFL. That was his whole career. It was not much more than that because of the hip. And the
I
hip will
know.
come back. And the hip will come back and flare up and and cut his NFL career short.
But if we're stuck with Tua next year and he sees the limitations of the team right now, and we've seen quarterbacks, trade in some of their salary to better the team, why wouldn't Tua at least consider it?
But,
Tua,
and his thing is about getting all the money he can. Remember, his career is not promised to him. He is not a Josh Allen. He is not a Mahomes, or even a. Well, Drake Mays ain't even promised to him a 1-year wonder. Don't get me excited. I've seen those before.
Tua's made enough wealth for his grandkids to live comfortable. You know.
All right, guys.
Hey, if you ever have,
I gotta give some other guys, people a chance. All right.
hey, I'm going to the game this weekend. I don't let you go. Hey, you guys enjoy it. I keep listening to the show.
I appreciate you, Glenn.
Too,
thank
Big
you.
C.
Yeah, no
thank
problem.
you, Billy. Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Appreciate it, man. Later.
Peace. All right, guys. The Tom Brady. Let's address the Tom Brady thing. You know, Tom Brady did give a lot of money back to help the New England Patriots. But Tom Brady had numerous contracts. I don't think this is the same thing. This is the one contract that Tua Tagovailoa is going to get in his career that is going to make him financially wealthy, his family wealthy. There's no way that I think he gives any of that money back. That money, most of that money is guaranteed. So it's not like, you know, oh, well, I'll renegotiate because at least I'm getting some of the money back. You know what I mean? Lots of times players renegotiate because they don't have a choice. It's either be cut and lose out on all my money, or, you know, I renegotiate and stay on the team and continue to make a paycheck. So I think that's where it's different. You know, the Miami Dolphins, I could 100% see them, you know, Stephen Ross, you know, he made the change with Chris Greer. He made the change with Chris Greer, right? Maybe he thinks that's enough. Maybe he thinks that's enough that this is successful. Like I said, he loves himself some Mike McDaniel. You know, he's got to pay Tua regardless. You know, maybe this new general manager, and I think there's a good chance that the Miami Dolphins don't even hire another general manager. They just go with the guy they currently got in. You know what I mean? They keep the guy that they currently have. I think there's a good possibility of that. You know, Stephen Ross loves Stephen Ross guys, and this guy is a Stephen Ross guy. So if he feels comfortable reloading this season, you know, possibly bringing Tyreek back, you know, the offensive line will be healthy, adding some defensive pieces, another draft. I'm just thinking Mike McDaniel or Stephen Ross is thinking, what could it hurt to give one more season? And he had said the status quo was not going to be good enough, and it wasn't good enough. He made a change. He didn't say that. He didn't say he was firing everybody if we didn't improve. He said that he would make changes. He said he'd make changes, and technically he made a change. And I think it was the most important change at this point. You can argue for this important point. But, you know, again, we owe Tua a lot of money. We owe Tua a lot of money. Now, the downfall from bringing Mike McDaniel and Vailoa back next year is Tua's gonna look good on certain games. Tua's gonna look good certain weeks. Tua will win you some games next season, and that does exactly what this season did. It takes us out of play for a top 10 draft pick. It takes us out of position of getting the number one quarterback in the draft. Now, a lot of you don't think that's important. Me personally, I think it's important when drafting a quarterback to get up there and get the number one guy, get the guy of your choosing. I think it's important to get the number one guy. And I think if Tua and Mike McDaniel are here, they're going to win us enough games that they're going to take us out of consideration for that. So me personally, if I had a choice, if you had to ask me right now what my choice would be, because Tua hasn't shown me that he has enough in the tank. Tua's shown me that he's regressed. Right now, he's 20th in the NFL in passing yards. He's 16th in touchdown passes. He leads the league in interceptions. Under 70% completion percentage. He leads the league in interceptions. I think you need to move on. I think you just got bait. Under 70% completion percentage. Sorry about that. Switched over to my other mic. I think at this point you need to move on. This retool is not going to work. Tua has not shown me enough this year that I have confidence that he can be the quarterback of yesteryear. Glenn said something very interesting. Glenn said what the people at Alabama said. That this hip injury was going to catch up with Tua. And I think it's starting to. I truly think the hip is starting to catch up with him. You add in the added pressure, and it's a recipe for disaster for Tua Tagovailoa. I was the first. I don't like to boost my own self, you know what I mean? But I was the first one to say something about this hip thing. I know Doug eventually started saying something about it, but I was the first one to say something about I believe the hip's bothering him. And I truly believe the hip's bothering him. I believe that Tua's in his own head at this point. He's not the same quarterback he was before that Houston Texans game last year. That's my boy. That's my boy. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. The Miami Dolphins, I think it's in their best interest. And again, they've won too many games and I don't think this is a great draft class anyway. I don't think this is a great draft class for quarterbacks. So I'm not super upset that we're not at the top of the draft. I think we still lose a couple of games this year. Where do we finish? Probably about the same spot that we finished last year. 13, 14, 15. We can still get a good player at 13, 14, 15. He said, I wouldn't be surprised if Tua retired after he is done Miami. I wouldn't be surprised, Bonnie. Honestly, I think he might want to show that he can still play and rub it in Miami's face. But I think that if Tua retires as soon as he's done in Miami, he knows. I did. I said Jordan Phillips might be the star of that team, that draft. I did. I said I love me some Jordan Phillips. D. Mendo drafted him yesterday in Madden. I drafted D. Mendo yesterday in Madden. Listen, you can talk about these quarterbacks. I mean, it comes to the draft them. it does little to no good. Quinn Ewers was supposed to be a top prospect in the draft. He drops around, right? Right. I just think we build. I would love for us to get us a Howie Rossman, get us one of the great general managers. Find us a general manager. Zeke Bears would be a beast. His draft combine almost same as Kenneth Grant. Yeah, I think you know I think Chris Greer did a really good job on this draft. Must be a leg. Yeah, it's Choppy Miller. There must be a leg right now. I think this was a super draft by Chris Greer. It's sad that he had to get fired after having such a good draft, but it is what it is. But regardless, Chris Greer had to go because he did a horrible job in free agency. If Chris Greer would have just added, if he would have kept Calais Campbell to this football team, we don't give up 200 plus yards rushing to the Carolina Panthers. Right? I think bringing Calais Campbell back wins us 2 more games. That was a mistake. Not getting some cornerback depth, that was a mistake. So, I mean, it was time for Chris Greer to move on, but Chris Greer had a very good draft. Last year's draft was a home run in my book. I think Jonah's still going to be a very, very good guard. I think Kenneth Grant's going to be a very good defensive tackle. I think Zeke Bigger is going to be a very, very good nose tackle. I think Jordan Phillips is going to be a very, very good defensive tackle. I think Dante Trader is going to be a very serviceable safety. Ollie Gordon has the ability to be a good change of pace back for us. Chris Greer hit a home run with this draft. Now, like I said, if you can hit a home run with next year's draft, you got a lot of positive players to move forward with. And then, like I said, in 2027, that's where you go get your quarterback. That's when you go get your coach. And you let him pick the quarterback of his choosing. And then those two guys are tied together. But what's that mean for us now? That means that we're still in for some heartache, folks. That means we're still in for disappointing Sundays. Nah, when you can hit on 5 draft picks, that's a home run. I think you're looking too much into, did we get a superstar? I mean, that's to be determined. I don't know if we got us a superstar, future Hall of Famer, but when you can get 5 starting quality players in a draft, that's a home run. If you can get 5 starters in a draft, that's a home run. Maybe we didn't get the superstar, maybe we didn't get the Hall of Famer, but we got 5 players that can be starters in this league, and I think that's absolutely a home run. That's way more than a single, brother. But these Miami Dolphins, we got some heartache in front of us. It's going to be curious to see what this team does. It's going to be I wouldn't say excited. I wouldn't say excited because this team has let me down an awful lot throughout my years. But I'm curious to see. I'm anxious to see what way we go about this rebuild. Now, I think this team needs a full-fledged rebuild besides the players that have been here for just a year or two. I think everybody can be touched besides I would say Devon Achan's the only player that's untouchable. Patrick Paul are the players that are untouchable besides the guys that were drafted last year, this year. Jalen Waddle, you can have him if the price is right. Achan, I'm not giving up. And it's not because I think Achan's untradeable. I think it's because I know whatever they're going to give us for Achan's not worth it. You're not going to get a first-round pick for a running back. It's just not going to happen. So Achan's more valuable than a second-round pick for me. For me. What up, Dean? Good morning. Good morning. But we got, you can look at your glass half full, and this is an exciting time for the Miami Dolphins because changes in the air. But as Dolphin fans, we know that it's hard to get excited about times like this because we failed at the rebuild so many times. It's hard to get excited when you know that we've been through this so many times and endured the same result. We've endured the same result. And we've failed so many times that it's hard to get excited. But hopefully this time's different. Hopefully the Miami Dolphins, and it all starts with the general manager. If you get the right general manager, I think everything else falls in place. I think if you find the guy that knows how to build a football team, everything will fall into place because he will find the correct head coach for you. And together they will find the right quarterback for you. And after that, they will find the right supporting cast for your quarterback. But if you mess up on the general manager, all bets are off. If you don't get the general manager that the Miami Dolphins have longed for, all bets are off. But that's what I got. I think the Miami Dolphins, at this point, I say you move off of Tua. Because I'd hate to go through. I love to see this team win, but I don't want to see this team win 5-6 games next year. Because that takes us out of position for a number one pick in the top overall quarterback. I don't want to see another 5-6 win season. I don't want to see it. I'd rather lose 17 games. Well, not 17. I'd rather lose 16 games and get the number one pick. But if Tua got it in them and they feel like they can build him a supporting cast, if they feel like they can reload and Tua can get back to the 2022 Tua, the 2023 Tua, I'm all right. I'm cool with a reload because when Tua's at his best, Tua's a damn good quarterback. Is he an elite quarterback? No. Is he a great quarterback? No. But when Tua's at his best, Tua can win you football games. I just think Tua's best days are behind him. I think Tua's best days are behind him, and I think Tua's on his last legs in the NFL. I really do. Like Miller said, or Glenn said, doctors only gave Tua so long of a career. And he's coming upon that. He's coming beyond that. upon that. He's reaching the limits of what they said. You add up all the hits, all the abuse that he's taken to that hip after the hip injury. And maybe, maybe that's catching up to him. Maybe it's in his head. Maybe it's in his head. Maybe the pressure's gotten to him. Maybe it's a bit of both. I was listening to Dave Hyde last night, and he said that Ross wants to keep Mike McDaniel, so he's looking for any reason to keep him, which does not necessarily mean a winning record. If Mike McDaniel stays, so will Tua. Exactly, Bonnie. Well, his reasoning, and like I said at the beginning of this podcast, his excuse can be, well, I got rid of Chris Greer. We made changes. We made changes. I didn't say I was firing everybody. We made changes. And I'm telling you, Stephen Ross thinks Mike McDaniel is a future star of this league. He knows that teams are going to be chomping at the bit to sign Mike McDaniel as an offensive coordinator, and he doesn't want to lose him. So he is looking for any reason to keep Mike McDaniel. Because Mike McDaniel is a brilliant mind. People like Mike McDaniel. But we shall see. All I know is we can look forward to the next game. And this week we got the Jets. And we'll be breaking that down tomorrow. Firing Chris Greer is not going to help Tua. A franchise done this before by firing Brian Flores. Well, I mean, when they fired Brian Flores, his replacement did help Tua. And I wouldn't say that firing Chris Greer is not going to help Tua, because the next general manager can build a real offense around Tua. They could. Now, will Tua's play warrant that? That's to be determined. Like I said, Tua has fallen off. Tua has regressed. So at this point, I don't know if you put Jerry Rice and Randy Moss out there with the Dallas Cowboys 90s offensive line and Barry Sanders in the backfield. I don't know if that's going to help Tua at this point. I don't know if that's going to help Tua right now, because something's off with him. Something's off. You don't go from being one of the most accurate quarterbacks in all of football to struggling to complete passes. It's just not normal. But the Dolphins got the Jets this week. We'll break down that game. This is a game that the Miami Dolphins absolutely should win. But don't be surprised if those Jets beat us. They could have beat us last time. I think that Tyrod Taylor is a better quarterback than Justin Fields. So that scares me. Tyrod Taylor's got one of the best deep balls in all of football. Starter, backup, it doesn't matter. He throws a beautiful deep ball. This Jets team could upset us if we don't come to play. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's a good thing. But screw that. I hate the Jets. I don't want us. If we win at least one more game this year, let it be this one. Let it be this one, because I freaking hate the Jets. But we'll be talking more about that. Yeah, hit the like button, subscribe, comment, share. I'll be back tomorrow to break down Dolphins and the Jets. But think about it. What should the Miami Dolphins do? What should this team do so we can be the next Philadelphia Eagles, so we can be the next Baltimore Ravens, so we can be the next Kansas City Chiefs? What does the Miami Dolphins got to do? What do they got to do? I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. It Phins up. Peace.
Yo, Big C in the house. You know the name. Fin Posse Podcast. changing the game. Phins up high, feel the aqua and orange. Miami Heat blazing, we scorching the floor. Know the tour, we stacking the saga. Legacy deep, call it football nirvana. Big C, break it down, got the stats in his veins. Play-by-play knowledge like he's calling the chains. Phins flying on the field, opponents feel the blast. Tyreek cheetah speed, leaving DBs in the past. Waddle with the wiggle, defense with the clamp. Aqua drip so clean, whole squad's the champ. Tune in, Big C, got the mic on lock. Fin Posse podcast, it's the cream of the crop. Breaking news, hot takes, repping the block. For the Dolphin faithful, it's the one-stop shop. Fin Posse, we the voice of the fans. Miami stand tall, got the world in our hands. Best podcast, yo, ain't no debate. Big C, big vibes, setting it straight. Defense smash, call it Aqua Tsunami. X locking routes like a South Beach Armani. O-line holding strong, trenches like a fortress. Big C dissected, no stack goes dormant.